Special Forces won't join the army 8 years later, retired home only to find his fiancée dead at home. He looked at the contraband and tools lying next to the body, and John immediately realized what should have been a big day turned into a funeral, and John was heartbroken. He put on his fiancée's wedding dress and took her to the holy river in the town. It is said that this place can wash away the sins of the body, and he wants to let his fiancée leave clean. But right after the ceremony, John turned away from her because he had to get justice for his wife. John knew that his wife would never touch such a thing unless he was tempted. So, armed with a gun, he went to the house of a local drug dealer. The drug dealer listened to the incessant knocking on the door and carefully pulled out his weapon. But no matter how much he asked, he didn't respond as he peered impatiently into the cat's eye. John opened the door with a loud bang, and a steel nail was inserted into the drug dealer's eye. John picked up the drop pistol and chased away his wife and son. He pressed the other suppliers for information, but the dealer wouldn't say a word. The next moment, John pins his hand to the wall. The drug dealer cries out in pain, begging John to let him go, but to let go of people whose homes were broken because of contraband. Without hesitation, John nailed his other hand to the wall. The drug dealer, feeling threatened with death, finally reveals his leader and the location of his trade, and says he has a wife and children to take care of, pleading with Joe to spare him. After John kills the drug dealer, he quickly leaves the scene. The police soon came. They saw the terrible things that had happened in the house. The old sergeant was lost in thought for a moment. However, he did not immediately order John's arrest, but decided to temporarily observe because his son lost his life because of contraband. Now there are righteous people like John, and the old sheriff wants to help him. The man arrives at a hotel, but when he knocks on the door, he finds a group of rich kids throwing a party inside. He looked at the open packages on the table and quickly inquired about the origin of these things. But at this time, a man took him for a policeman and told him to get out immediately. John was out for revenge, refused to give up, and punched the man twice. The men saw the cruelty of each other, and his companion immediately explained the origin of the goods. John then went to another room, tricked him into opening the door, and hit him directly with his helmet, and the man immediately fell to the ground. Then John pulls out his pistol and points it at the man sitting in the chair, who was clearly the target of John's action. He thought John was there for the money, and said he could take all the cash on the table if he needed it. But for John, money was as useless as paper. He spoke angrily about what had happened to his wife and why he had come. But before the boss can say anything, the man next to him speaks first, threatening John and insulting his late wife. John could no longer control his anger after hearing this, and he shot down the man, breaking his knee directly. The boss is a smart man. He saw John so ruthless, he immediately had a plan to deal with it. He first expressed sincere regret for his wife's death, and then he said that there were many distributors like him in the whole town, and that he was forced to make a living. He couldn't give up the location of the town's drug factory, and if John can clean it up, he will eliminate the source of the contraband once and for all, and he promises to never touch it again. What John didn't expect was that the man had not learned his lesson, and asked Mike not to tell the truth. After hearing this, John picks up the gun and starts shooting. And after some hesitation, he finally decides to spare Mike's life. And finally, she only takes all the contraband from the table. The man traced the address to the drug factory. Coincidentally, upon arrival, a van was found carrying goods out. John did not act rashly to shots, quietly parked the motorcycle, and the car must pass the road. Then opened fire on the car, killing the driver instantly. Then John opened the trunk, put all the contraband together, and finally threw into grenades, and the car exploded. With everything ready, John returns to the warehouse again, this time to wipe out the place. Under his sudden attack, the unsuspecting enemies were beaten badly in an instant. No one was his opponent, and every bullet he fired could take away an enemy. On reaching the last room, a weapon blocks John's path. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and stopped the bullet with the dead body of an enemy. The man threw up his hands in horror, trying to get John to spare his life. However, John's gun also happened to be empty of bullets. When the man saw this, he immediately rushed up, and the two of them struggled together. In the confusion, the man escaped into the woods by rolling down the stairs, and just as he was about to run to the clearing to call for help, a gun silently grabbed his head. John grabs the phone and calls back after pressing for the password. He wanted to see who the drug lord was running the town, but when the voice on the other side of the phone came, John was momentarily stunned because it was actually his girlfriend's father. Seeing John's dumbstruck expression, the man could not help but make a sarcastic comment, which John then punched and kicked him. Then the old sheriff showed up with a policeman and said that John had killed so many people that it was time to stop. But John had nothing to live for, and all he wanted to do was get rid of this asshole and go on the road with his wife again. Just as he was on the verge of collapse, an enemy suddenly appeared and wounded a policewoman. Fortunately, John reacted quickly and shot him dead immediately. The man on the side wanted to take advantage of the chaos to escape, but was immediately killed by the old sheriff. The two then take the injured policewoman to an ambulance. But John does not leave with her, because he still has one last thing to do. That is to personally solve the old man who indirectly harmed his daughter. When confronted with John's question, the old man explained that he had not expected such a thing to happen. But now that it had happened, he wanted John to put aside his hatred and rule the kingdom with him. Hearing this, John stopped talking nonsense and took out a needle directly from his pocket, which contained the newly developed product of the old man. He wants this man to personally feel the pain of his wife's death. The old man found that there was no room for recovery. He was unreasonable and started shooting directly. Fortunately, John had a lot of experience in the field and immediately jumped on the fight after he was shot. However, due to his serious injuries, John was still pinned down by the old man. At the moment of crisis, he picked up the small bowl that had fallen on the ground and directly smashed the old lamb's eyes. Taking this opportunity, John instantly jumped onto his horse and then punched him in succession and finally picked up the needle and killed the old man. That's when John finally got his revenge, but he did not return to the police to surrender, but came to the original wife baptism of the river. Accompanied his wife slowly sank to the bottom of the river.